He's my number one, I don't need nothing on the side. Been loving him for a minute now, think about it makes me cry. We're only human, everything ain't always right. Sometimes we be tripping, squash it and swallow our pride. If we're gonna last, sometimes lingers in my mind. But when he takes his cookie, he reminds me that it's fine. But we're only human, everything ain't always right. But he be having me tripping, go somewhere and clear my mind. Slip me a kiss, then he won't. Confused about this love, I'm like, don't. Go right back around into gold. Go right back around, then I won't. This love is so good, I can't lose him. If I had to again, I would choose him. If we argue again, I might lose him. If we argue again, I might lose him. Everybody has a story, but some are just unique. The stuff we've been through made us never broke us, try walking in our feet. Hey. One day we are loving hard, the next day not so much. But we don't talk to each other, both of our draws are in a bunch. He said left, I said right, then we meet in the middle. How we make this work, Lord knows, try more than just a little. Prayed and prayed for something to come true. But even though it's rough sometimes, I know he brought me you. Man on my mind constantly is you. All of the time it's you. Sometimes I think that my dreams came true, but it's all in my mind, I only hope it's true. Slip me a kiss, then he won't. Confused with this love, I'm like, don't. Go right back around into dote. Go right back around, and I won't. This love is so good, I can't lose him. If I had to again, I would choose him. If we argue again, I might lose him. If we argue again, I might lose him. I'm so confused, yo, I wish it was clearer. I see you when I look in the mirror. I see you when I look in the mirror. I see you when I look in the mirror. I'm so confused, yo, I wish it was clearer. I see you when I look in the mirror. I see you when I look in the mirror. I see you when I look in the mirror. He's my number one, I don't need nothing on the side. Been loving him for a minute now, think about it makes me cry. We're only human, everything ain't always right. Sometimes we be tripping, squashing and swallow our pride. If we're gonna last, sometimes lingers in my mind. But when he takes his cookie, he reminds me that it's fine. But we're only human, everything ain't always right. But he be having me tripping, go somewhere and clear my mind. I love him, I don't wanna lose him. I love us, but will I stay choosing? They choosing to love us or lose him. They losing, my heart will be bruising. We used to lay back and be cruising, staring at each other, be cruising. This love for you, never I'm losing. This love for us, never I'm losing. He's my number one, I don't need nothing on the side. Been loving him for a minute now, think about it makes me cry. We're only human, everything ain't always right. Sometimes we be tripping, squash it and swallow our pride.
Everything's a vibe. Like, this is science. Everything's got its own frequency. We know that energy is neither created or destroyed, it's merely transferred or transformed. When we speak in energy. I don't even think people pay attention half the time in conversation when I say, I feel you, I feel you, I feel you.
You said I read your mind the other day, but baby, we are just connected deeply in another way. That telepathy connection, energy that's manifested through that melanin, electric currents traveling kinetic. What you thinking?
Call my mama.
But my mama calling me. Coincidence, no higher common sense, I call it ESP. We are magic while this world's unraveling. 5G cannot limit our ability from traveling. See, I'm on another level, dirty, dig it, homie, get the shovel. I'm a rebel in this motherfucker, dancing with these demons. got them screaming. This world is planting fear inside us. Clearly, I'm just over all the brainwashing. Time to wash your brain of all the pain, of all the stress, all the lies you told yourself. Open your eyes and realize you're a diamond in the rock. Don't let them tell you what you're not. It's time to show the world all this magic that we got with telepathy.
So hear me clearly. For me, language is liberation. The words that we have, they define and describe the very things that free our mind, but only when we choose with intention and pay attention to the frequency of the words that we use to construct our realities. Who do you say that you are? I am. I am. Those two words alone are the very beginning to a powerful sequence of awakening yourself to who and all that you are, have been, and will be. We talk in frequency.
Focus your energy. Mental telepathy. Clouded visions, poison minds, can't see clear enough. The world full of interference, so God ain't hearing us. My spouse miles away, can't even take a walk in public. Coronavirus got us locked away like lab subjects. Close your eyes and you can feel the pain, we all connected. Empath, so I sense when every soul's ejected. A mystic, magical, way beyond simplistic. 5G blocking my chi, keeping our signals twisted. Communicate with my mind, mental telepathy. Into nature, so we speak on different frequencies. My third I watch, the other two never truly see. The world is an illusion shrouded in secrecy. A king by birthright, a god at first sight. Divine shine bright, blind the wicked at first light. Open your heart chakra and let these words shock you. We telepathic, use your magic like a witch doctor.
Or ancient Egyptian words of power that speaks to the soul. I command your soul to listen. Nukta un mesura aritun ak em ta tema'u. Nukta un mesura aritun ak em ta tema'u. Nukta un mesura aritun ak em ta tema'u. The chaz un mesura aritun ak im ta tema'u.
I'm the sun, you the moon, and the light reflects, complementing each other, that makes us jest. Energy shared between us is so phenomenal. Astrological thinking on the same thought pattern. Let's create a universe where the rings of Saturn. Our love goes deeper than the meanings, feelings, healings, coasting on the wings of my eye. You're the air that I breathe, goddess of my dreams. Put you on a pedestal, place the one above you. Got you going in circles, showing my love Jones, putting me in a zone, making this house.
I am intentional, I am the sun, I am original, I am the one. I am intentional, I am the sun, I am original, I am the one. I have a purpose for my existence, I will not stop till I reach my mission. I have ambition, I am consistent, people don't cross me without my permission. My journey is in no competition, I am grateful for all I've been given. I am unique, I am complete, I am everything that I wish to see. I can create my own reality, I am the best me that I can be. I am manifestation, I am present and patient, I am confident, I am opulent, I am destined for greatness. I am prominent, I'm the consequence of God's love for creation. I am competent, I am proud of it, I am courageous. I am happiness, my energy contagious. I'm a champion, take it and embrace it. I am another queen in the making. I am here to succeed with determination. I have a positive ambiance. I am so grateful, so gracias. I am the one I can call upon. I am my own lucky charm. I am intentional, I am the sun. I am original, I am the one. I have a purpose for my existence. I will not stop till I reach my mission. I am intentional, I am the sun. I am original, I am the one. I have a
Hey, peace and blessings, Starseeds. Thank you for being in the building tonight. Welcome to Thankful Thursdays. This is your girl Foxy Roxy here on Pronoia Starseed Podcast. I'm so excited tonight, y'all. So, as you see scrolling across the screen, tonight is Thankful Thursdays, and we are going to be joined by the RawBQ master himself, the plant master on IG, Mr. Peri, in a few minutes. So I just want to see how y'all doing tonight. Y'all know my producer Enoch, he ain't in the building yet. So y'all know what that means. Y'all in trouble. I'm producing the show and I'm running the show. So let's see how this goes. So the first couple of videos you caught earlier again was The Cure. You remember they was just here. I think last week they were on the show. So shout out to The Cure that was in the building. Also, we started off the show with Kia's Heart by A Rise. She was here a couple weeks ago. So shout out to all the artists that have already been in the building. And I'm so excited to introduce you to another type of artist. He's like a food artist. He's amazing. If you haven't caught my reels, you need to go over there on Pronoia Starseed Podcast. We have one up right now, and you can see him making his wonderful barbecue meals. And he's going to get into his course and who he is and what he does. But again, if you in the building, let us know. You know, we interactive over here. If you got questions, if you're interested, you know, put it there in the comments. Let me know you're here. Again, I'm running the show myself, so please forgive me if it's little things are off here and there, and I might have to click, you know, back and forth. That's how I do. All right. All right. Without further ado, I will not hold you any longer. He is in the green room. He is ready to go. I will bring to you the barbecue master himself, Peri.
What's going on?
Hey, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's good to be here. I'm excited. Been
Yeah,
looking forward to this.
yeah, me too. So let the people know who you are and what you do, and you do a lot. But let's
Yeah.
get with the barbecue. Start with the barbecue course that you got going on too, and just people know who you are.
All right. Well, my name is Perry. My name on IG handle is Plantmaster P. Um, I've come from a place of uh, being a standard, a person who came up the same way we all did, in a construct in a system that was built to destroy us. And I basically took that and transmuted it and made it into something beautiful, given the opportunity. So you were talking about the raw food course. I have a raw food course that I've been working on with a friend of mine named Wes. He's a videographer out in been the last 2 months in Pennsylvania, putting that together and really trying to come up with something foundational for people that are not, for people in general, but not only just people, but for our people, melanated people as well. Because, regardless of what anybody really says, the construct is built in a way to keep a certain people in their place. And we're all starting to wake up to getting hip to it and starting to connect on different levels. So I've always wanted to put out something to help, my fellow brothers and sisters and their transition from going from the world into something totally foreign. And, helping them create a foundation to build on, nothing too complicated. The recipes in the course are very simple. I wanted to keep it simple because, people come and talk to me in my DMs and IG, and they're always looking for something that isn't complicated, that's something that can be understood. And so I really felt led to create something that was very foundational and that it's simple, still include some things that might challenge somebody coming into this lifestyle, because it's, there's levels to it, right? So as we're all finding out, and raw food is one of those levels where we're just not apt to eating that way because we've been trained to eat another way. And so when change is coming and things are being challenged and we're not familiar with where we need to go, but we know we need to go there, that's where we have people like myself and others that have special talents and gifts to get us where we need to be, whether it be food, whether it be helping people find their place in the world and in the universe, and how to show them how to empower themselves. And I just wanted to be a part of that while this whole thing is going down, this evolution of I call her daughter Earth because Mother Universe, right? So A lot of times
Yes.
we call her Mother Earth, but you know, things are happening, and as she's evolving, we're evolving as cells within the body. So it's exciting to be in a place where you can observe this.
Okay, you see me over here cheesing because I wasn't expecting you to, just give us all your starseed energy straight out the
Right.
gate. I didn't know what I was gonna get here. I didn't know how you was gonna come at me. So
Yeah.
as y'all can see, he is an activated starseed. So I was gonna get into because the journey of going, raw is also a part of that, that calling of really detoxifying ourselves and getting back to our true selves. And I like the fact that that's connected for you. It's not just about, health is important. It's your health, but it's also your spirituality. And it's about not carrying around all that weight. So
Absolutely.
can you tell us how you got into the raw food movement?
Yeah, absolutely. Prior to being in, doing the raw food thing, I come from a family which most of us can relate. We gather around food, and it's not the best of food. So, I grew up eating the same types of foods like fried chicken. I was big into barbecue, which I'll get into. But family wise, we ate good, what we call soul food, right? And growing up, I would always see, you know, at least the elders, as they got older and older, how they would deteriorate, so much, and how things were supposedly classified as being running in the family. When my grandfather had his heart attack, it was out of the blue. I've had uncles die of colon cancer. That's one of the biggest ones that supposedly ran in the family. And but even when I started having my complications, which led me to my change, which was actually something that people consider to be like normal as for getting older. But at such a young age, I was dealing with like hemorrhoids, and I kind of wrote it off, for the most part, because I would have conversations with people about it, what they thought, and they're like, "Oh, it's part of getting old." But at the same time, I was kind of like, I'm only like, at the time I was like 34 years old, and I'm 40 now, so I was just thought it was crazy that I was so young already experiencing these symptoms, and so I didn't get serious until a time that when the hemorrhoid actually got bad to where it's like I went to the bathroom, and when I went to the bathroom, it hurt really, really bad, and a lot of blood came out, and that is actually like kind of like my worst nightmare. And all the things, the kind of things flash, before your face when this happens, because I kind of knew that I was treating my body a certain way, but I didn't want to be different than everybody else. I loved eating chicken wings and going to the bar and drinking my, Dos Equis or whatever it was that I decided to drink that day.
Right.
And just really treat my body like crap, knowing I was doing it, but get upset when I would get negative results or things would pop up, because I was kind of a hypochondriac, like I was always thinking something was wrong, because that's kind of what they feed you, whether it be on the TV with, promoting medicines and stuff. It's just a lot of fear-based stuff around medical conditions. And, growing up, we were always told that, so-called African Americans are, prone to getting all these diseases, and we're at the top of the chart. So as I was going through those complications, I also, prior to that, started a food truck. So that's kind of what got me into the food. My family was biggest influence on me in food, because we always gathered around food. Food was a place where we got together, cut up, all that good stuff. And then I think it's just kind of in my blood to prepare food, because my grandmother was always preparing food, and even the men in my family prepared food. So it's something that I've always just had in me, I guess. And so it's something that I really enjoyed doing. And so I kind of made it a business a couple of years ago. It's probably about 3 years ago before I gave up my barbecue business. But I started a barbecue business and ran as a catering business for about 3 or 4 years to try to get money to start a food truck. And I ended up starting getting the food truck and doing barbecue. And I ran that food truck for about 3 years before I started having the complications. But I think the interesting thing is as I look back, in hindsight being 2020, I did have those thoughts that I think all of us really do sometimes, that if we're just being honest with ourselves, that we're eating things and treating ourselves in a way that's very self-destructive, but we kind of ignore it for some reason, or, when somebody close dies to us, dies or whatever complication, we'll think about it for a little bit and just get numb to it. But, as a whole, when you start really healing yourself and cleaning out, you start seeing that it's really like the biggest epidemic there is, is what we feed ourselves, both spiritually, physically, and even through the sustenance that we eat, through our mouth, that, we're being duped into being consumers in such a way that it's killing us, but we're also creating a profit for people that have not so good intentions for us. And so as I started to recognize those things and started to see that these complications were arising from a place of first emotion, and then second, what I was putting in my body, as I cleaned out and the lighter I started to eat, I realized that for me, it wasn't like a lot of physical detox, as in like, how people start having symptoms, like they'll have their face break out, or, there's different types of detox. A lot of mine was emotional. And so as I started to clean out and started to try to get the symptoms that I was going through from my issue that arose under wraps, because I didn't want to do it through a doctor. I didn't want to be on medicine and those types of things. So I really started to look into the plant-based diet or the plant-based lifestyle, and saw that people were really healing themselves of some serious diseases just from changing the way they ate. So me having a background in barbecue, it was not the easiest decision to give up flesh and some of the a lot of the processed foods and stuff that I was eating. But I noticed that when I did decide to make that change, as I made that change, even though it happened over a quick period of time, it didn't feel like it at the time, because I've only been on the journey for about 3 years now. I'd be plant-based for 3 years. It was October 6th. And so this transformation happened not only physically for me, most of it was actually what we would call what we can't see, which is the spiritual aspect or the metaphysical aspect, in that I started to have these epiphanies and these things come to my mind that I normally would have never thought about. And as I cleaned out, it's almost like intellectually I got smarter, and I was more connected to what we would call this plane, and also the things that happen outside of this plane that have influences on our mental state. Like when we talk about the planets and we talk about astrology and things like that. A lot of these things that I was taught that was evil started to come to light. So as we clean out our gut, which is I will always call the place of bondage, health is important because it gets your body back into a place of being a conductor, right? So we, as being melanated people, we're conductors, and that's why we have to eat a certain way and do things a certain way, because we eat the sun. It's not that our ancestors worshiped the sun, is that they had a reverence for the sun because they understood both the inner workings of the body and how that also worked with things on the outer part of our body. And it's all synonymous and works in rhythm. That's why we are rhythmical people, right? Yes. So once we've been kind of taken off of our cycle, and our cycle is the sun. And so they attack everything within our being to disrupt our body, because there is no reality without the faculties in the body working correctly. And so when we start to clean out, we start becoming aware that there's parts of our body that we never knew about. And once you bring awareness to that, to me, that starts to it wakes up the body, because you're now aware of something that you weren't aware of before. And that's powerful, whether it sounds simple or not. Like, people don't know what a pineal gland, but to bring awareness to somebody about what it is actually gets the brain to a place where it starts to think more, and you're like, oh, and it starts to wake different parts up. So I just think that the food part is just one of those beginning stages of the levels of healing that it takes to get where we need to get back to where we were originally designed to be.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm over here just shaking my head. I'm just like in awe because you're just touching so many different places, and it all goes back to us becoming who we're all going back there. And I think that the
Hmm.
teachers and the leaders who are supposed to lead us there are the ones like you who are opening up these doors. Like you said, you make it easy. Okay, people don't
Yeah.
need complicated, people need easy. That's why they get fast food. That's why
Hmm.
because it's easy, right? We living in a
Hmm.
world we want easy. So to make a course where people can learn how to make raw foods, and not just that, learn that it's connected. And this is why I wanted to bring you here, because again, what you're just saying is it's a spark, right? You're
Hmm.
sparking that in you, because once you spark it, it's like a rabbit hole we can go down. But it's just
Hmm.
first got to get that spark going. You
That's
got to
right.
get really just thinking like, wow, oh, what is a pineal gland? Oh, now what is this? And why didn't we know about? And then you end up with a podcast called Pro Noise,
Yeah, that's right.
because that's what happens. It's like, uh, you know, that's how divine works. And
That's right.
so I brought you here again so that Starseeds, this is an honor, honestly, to have you here to explaining this, because a lot of us, we think that awakening is just awakening our consciousness and not
Hmm.
knowing that everything is connected, your mind, your body, and your soul. And if you're not in alignment with everything, you're going to be out of alignment. It's not, you can't be in alignment one place and everything else be out of alignment. So
Hmm.
I want you to kind of tell us about, you said that you had started bleeding,
Hmm.
and that was like one of the catalysts to getting you into this journey. You
Hmm.
also said you had a food truck. So what kind
Hmm.
of food truck did you have?
It was a barbecue. So yeah, so at the time, the barbecue truck was what I call clean at the time, because I didn't do pork. I just did pulled beef and chicken. And during the time that I had the food truck is actually when I was having having the complications, which the hemorrhoids and the pain and all that ended up me going to the doctor and getting colonoscopy. You know, and so when I got that colonoscopy, when I woke up from it, the doctors were telling me that I had several precancerous polyps that really could have been serious if I didn't really get checked and get them removed and this, that, and the other, and that I needed to actually slow down on my meat consumption. And they said red meat, but even when I cut out the red meat, I was still seeing a lot of these issues lingering around, where I'd go to the bathroom and I'd wipe and see blood, things that aren't normal, so um, it just raised a red flag, and I didn't want to be the person in my family that was stubborn and waited till the last minute to try to do something and then end up dying. Because I was only 34 or so years old, so I'm looking at my life like I don't want to die any earlier than I have to. So after that, I didn't go back to the doctor. I just pretty much took everything into my own hands, because I kind of have white coat syndrome. And anyway, like I didn't never went to the doctor. I always felt like their numbers really weren't. I just knew it was a big scam even before I became as aware about what's going on now than I was. There was always this hidden skepticism of who these people are and really what do they care about, because I was always questioning them, because they were always trying to stick me on pills, and I'd be
Yes.
like, there's no way to do this besides pills. And
Hey.
you
And there's
know
never that suggestion. It's never made.
exactly
Never.
right.
Like,
And it's
damn.
just exactly, and it's just really crazy that happened, because I didn't have one she was a cardiologist, but she was my primary doctor, and her name was well, I won't say her name, but anyways, we were cool, and she was cool because I always questioned everything, and to the point where she would be like, you should just have a mailbox here because you know more than I do. And I'm like, then what, like I don't get why these doctors keep trying to prescribe people medicine instead of teaching them about nutrition and what they should eat. But she would talk to me about the foods and things that I should and shouldn't eat, and she would actually tell me, I'm not going to put you on medicine right now. I'm just going to let you try to figure this out on your own. And each time she'd let me do that, of course, I never did. I just I kept doing the same thing, eating wings at the bar, going to eating pizza and drinking beer, and you know, and once it catches up to you, you either pay your own doctor or you become a slave to the the Western medical system. And it's just like, I see people in my family that were on pills all their life, or still on pills, and I just didn't want to be that. You know what I mean? And high blood pressure was something that really runs in my family as well, as all melanated families usually have issues with high blood pressure, and we're always wondering why these foods do that. And it's like, these are unnatural types of food for us, and it was introduced to us, and to mentally entrap and mentally enslave our brains, but we don't see it like that when we're doing it, because we're taught to eat emotionally, from a child. When a child's crying, the first thing somebody wants to do is shove food in its face, so it'll stop. And it's like, this is how we learn how to eat emotionally, because
Absolutely.
nobody's having these conversations with their children and trying to work out the emotions with them, and so they just let the food or the tablet or whatever else it is take care of the emotional needs for the child, which is absolutely terrible, because the people that create those know that that's what's going on.
Absolutely.
So
Agree.
not to get into that too much, but yeah, I mean, honestly, just all of it goes together. Like,
Look,
it's hard
this
for
is where
me.
you can talk about that. You can talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it does. It all goes together. It's all connected. What we see, what we think, what we listen to on a regular basis, what we feed ourselves. That's why we try to keep high vibrational music over here, try to keep people, excited, but not excited in negative ways, and we got to feed our bodies the same way we feed, our minds. We think it's important to go to school and teach ourselves things, but it's not important to learn about our bodies. And
Right,
then
right.
I get what you're saying about going to because I'm just like that with the doctor, because a while ago, like a long time ago, it's about, I say about 9 years ago, I had gotten a staph infection, and it was bad. And it came from them. They kept giving me antibiotics. And of course, that just made it worse, because it got smart. It was like, oh, okay, I'll just come back even stronger. And I was frustrated. And what I did was I went online and I started looking up, people who used different holistic ways to heal a staph, because I had a friend who died from a staph infection.
Wow.
So I was scared. I was like, what in the world? Like, and this is just getting worse. So I Googled, and it was so simple. I got some turmeric and some manuka honey, and I made a paste, and I also made a tea, and I drank it every day for 2 weeks. I put the paste on in the morning and in the evening, and I drank the tea every day, and it never came back. In 2 weeks, it was
Wow.
gone, and it never came back. So after that, I mean, my kids, everybody knows my kids, I mean, we just don't go down that road. And a lot of time that seems controversial, but honestly, it's about trusting that divine has provided everything that we actually need. We just need to learn what it is.
Right.
Like we learned everything else. We learned all these things we don't really know or need to know. Like I got so much bullshit in the back of my mind that I can remember, like, crisscross, I missed the bus. Every last damn lyric to that song. But I don't know, it my kids do now, but like when I was younger, know about chakras, didn't know about spirituality, didn't know that I was a spirit in a human body. I just thought I was a person, didn't even know that I was divine. So, like, to know these things, and again, to be educated on what to eat, how it affects us, is really important. So, can you let them know exactly where they can catch you and find out more about the RawBQ course?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, just the only platform I'm on is Instagram. That's the only one I really allowed myself to have. So, like you were saying, it's my name on Instagram is plant_master_P33. I also have a YouTube channel under the same name, which I share some, free recipes. And if you go to my IG page, the link for the course is in the bio, and you can go through there, and has a small description of what the course entails and how to order it. Right now, it's on pre-sale all the way up until the release date, which is 11/11/22, which is,
Yes.
I love signs and symbols, and so
Yes, I love that.
it's funny that the videographer picked that date, and just the other day I kind of realized like what the numbers were. I was so immersed in trying to get these recipes out, like I didn't even realize the symbolism even with that. But right now it's on pre-sale for 33% off.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it makes it $80, and there's 35 recipes with all have video tutorials. Super easy, super, it's really, really good. It's not anything that's going to overwhelm anybody. A lot of the recipes I have on there don't require a dehydrator, but I did put a few recipes on there that had some things for the dehydrator. And yeah, I just really felt led to make it like a foundational thing. People, like I said, voiced their opinions on, they wanted something simple. Like you said, the workforce, I often say this a lot, that the workforce and people's eating lifestyles go synonymous because, like you said, they pick the easiest thing because they're being, worked to death, more and more and more, and people are demanded of more and more and more with less. And so the easiest thing to grab is also the easiest thing to make us sick. And we put money in the pockets of the people who own the fast food chains or whatever it is that make us sick, and then they make money on the back end.
Yep.
So I want to do something for people to where it makes the transition easier, because to learn how to uncook, as crazy as it sounds, is hard for somebody that's used to cooking food, and then when you realize how easy it is to not cook versus to cook, even down to the dishes you have to wash, it starts to make sense of why do we complicate our lives so much, and that we can have these easy to access foods if we just train our body to go back from the drugs that it was used to back to the actual medication that it needs, because this food is medicine. And so as you take medicine, you're not supposed to stay on medicine forever. It's only to get you back to the natural state, which a lot of people, home is where the heart is. And when I hear the word home, it reminds me of homeostasis, which is the body's ability to sustain itself without any outside source, sustenance besides the breath that we breathe, the sun. And that's a whole nother thing. But, we're that powerful to where we are the gods that these scriptures and writings talk about. And basically how I made the course is the same way that scriptures are written, in that it's a story told, and if the symbols and signs, and like a priest, to me the priest's job is to make things plain, right? It's not this person that sits up in a pulpit and blah blah blah. To me, a priest is basically like a psychologist who helps show people where they stand at in the universe, and they're able to tell a story or to take information and make it edible for people on a easier, like a layman's type understanding, until they grow, until they get help, to where they can start to see these things for themselves. So
Absolutely.
the priest is basically like a psychiatrist. It just helps the person empower themselves, help heal themselves, because the person has to realize that nobody can save them but themselves. But there's people out there that can show them how to do it. Like, we read about Jesus and all these archetypes, which, I won't get into all that, but,
I already heard it through the archetypes.
right. So these things are pointing to something that are inward, right? But the image of the story, is a parable and an allegory in which, if you have to know the deeper meanings, and when you know the signs and symbols, and you have the key to the map, you start to see that they're talking about things not outside of our body, but inwardly. And so, so how we treat ourselves, how we feed ourselves, and being in health helps to open up those faculties to be able to grasp it, the higher things, because until we do that, we're still in bondage to the foods we eat and the emotions we're not dealing with. And it really just takes a person just being true to themselves and let go of whatever opinion they have of themselves, and really just be okay with calling themselves out. I had to call myself out a lot, still do. Like, you're doing this, and why you're doing this? This is not cool. You got to deal with it. You got to face it and know that, hey, I'm wrong. I did a lot of things wrong in my life, but now I can change it, and now I can, be the one who reverses the curse that everybody talks about. This generational curse, which is our inability to look within for God instead of looking for something in the sky, because that's where God is found. So,
all right, you know what, Peri, you did not tell me you was gonna be dropping all these gems tonight. I don't even have to say I'm serious. This is like the easiest interview I've ever done because you just given all the gems, and it's true. All of
Yep.
it is true. I can't do nothing but shake my damn head. I'm just
Right. Right.
this is true. And
Yes.
things like you said that they pushed us away from. They made us fear. The reason why we fear these things is because who's going to want you to be empowered? I
Right.
mean, you guys, you got to really think about that. You know, when you go in and you get, your treatment, I don't want to treat a disease. I want to give it a treat. I want to cure it. I want to get
That's
rid
right.
of it. Why are we treating it? And why are you have a practice? Why are you practicing on me?
Right.
I am all
Right.
here for it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's important that we pay attention to what we eat. And I'm gonna go over here to the comments because you've been getting a lot of comments, and I've been, trying to flash them, but keep going. So I'm gonna
All
go
right.
back,
Cool.
y'all. So yeah, the gut in bondage is yes. Whoa, that hit me too. The gut is in bondage when you got all that death down in there.
Right. And the
Let's
funny, I wanted to say one thing about the bondage thing, and that when we talk about, and I like to use the Bible because that's what they tricked us with. And you were talking about the words and etymology. The way that you decode things or try to figure things out is to get to the root of whatever the word is, and to know that etymology is the fact of a word. It's the word at its original creation before it became changed over the years. And so the place of bondage would be Egypt in the Bible, which is the hot place, which is the place where people are enslaved to the stomach. And when the Israelites came out of bondage into the promised land, it's basically a picture of alchemy, right?
Yeah.
Going from a place of cleaning your gut out and a place of healing, because the place that was called the land flowing milk and honey was a promised place where people would go to, where they had no worries and they were healed. And when you start to get to the lingo and the etymology, because we're a metaphorical people, we talk in metaphors all the time, that we know that we got to get out of Egypt. And it's not a literal thing. It's what we're doing right now by talking about this, is we're helping free our people from bondage. And the only way I can get into the minds of people is through their stomach. So it works. It works in my favor a lot of times.
Absolutely. No, I mean, it's deep. You remind me. I'm bringing. So I know you follow Dr. Inky, right?
Yeah.
He'll be here on the 28th.
Cool.
And it's just he also goes into how what we eat, what we're eating, and what we're putting into our bodies. It is total bondage. I totally get that. And we don't realize that our gut, that's a brain. Like, it's intelligence down there. And you're
Absolutely.
eating, when we're eating things that are not alive, they have emotions, and they died with those emotions. And then you running around with all these emotions that you don't know if they belong to you or not. Because, we are what we eat.
Exactly.
And I love how you talked about etymology, because a lot of people, they shun a quote unquote woke community when they say grand rising, but we don't want to say good morning, we know that the root words matter, because it doesn't matter that you change the meaning. The root of the word is what you're saying,
Exactly.
like every day of the week. And now I'm weak every day. I go to work and I'm tired. Why? Because it's the weekday. And now the weekend, I got all this energy because the week has ended, right? It's the week.
Right.
So we don't even pay attention to the words we're saying, and we're casting spells on ourselves and on people we see every day. Good morning.
Good morning. Yep. Just living the dream, right?
Right. You say good enough, but you're still in the morning. So you're walking around sad, happy. What the fuck? What
don't make no sense.
No. And we say this on a regular basis. And what do we do on a regular basis? We listen to music on a regular basis. We get in the car. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, I used to wake up and just cut on music unknowingly, that I'm just programming myself into these frequencies. And then we're saying the thing over and over. Now, we won't say affirmations that make us feel better every day, but we'll sing the same bullshit song every day and wonder why our lives are upside down.
Right.
Saying the same thing. And it's crazy because I saw Ye, and I don't usually get into stuff that's going on right now, but I saw a clip from Kanye when he was talking about the us, using those same words over and over, in rap, using the music to actually destroy our own community by saying these same things over and over. And we're not realizing we are casting spells. We are very powerful. And I think it's the lack of knowing how powerful we are that we just slang shit out our mouths, and then be like, why is this happening to me? It's like, dude, you cast the whole spell on yourself. Like, what the hell? And then we eating stuff that's dead. So, and you know, I eat meat. I've been transitioning out of it. There was a point where I didn't, and I tell you, I won't blame my pregnancies, but when I got pregnant again, it was like immediately I went back. But before, it was like I felt so free, I felt so light. And when you said we eat the sun, baby, I stargaze and I sun gaze. So I like days I don't have to eat. I'm full.
Right.
So you know, we are like the plants. You know, the plants are getting fed every day. You know, we get stuck in the house and we wonder why we're depressed, but we're not getting the vitamins and the minerals and everything we need from the sun. So we are definitely being fed on a regular basis by the
all
sun.
the time.
Yeah, so we're overfeeding ourselves. We're really ourselves with things we don't need.
The body's wonderful. I mean, like I said, I'm only going to go as deep as we can, but it's just so much, you know, like to know thyself is everything, because if you know yourself, you know everything. And like you were saying, like we create our reality with our words, but not only with our words, because our words are really what help form our thoughts and what we think, right? So ultimately all healing comes from the thought, you know, the pineal gland being the place of the father or the creator, you know, and the pituitary being the master gland, which is the mother who, you know, sends the signals to all of the body, you know. And the pineal gland being thought or Christ is the pencil that draws our reality. And so that's, you know, as we all know, that's the seat, the throne seat to source. And so we are source in that whatever we keep in our mind is what we're going to create. That's why they try to keep us in the past instead of in the present. Because if we stay in the past, then it's a reoccurring thing that happens because we won't let it go. And so they know that they can keep us, you know, they create these catastrophes, you know, like 9/11, these things, and they tell you never forget, never forget, never forget, because they try to keep people right. So they want to keep people on this loop and in this cognitive dissonance, and then once repetitiveness is the way to train the brain. So the only way to get out of the way that the brain is and doing, like you said, instead of doing the positive affirmations, it hurts us to do those because our repetitiveness for the other stuff is easier for us. So it's the hardest to make that change. But once you realize and start cleaning out that literally we don't need money, we can literally have whatever we want just thinking about it. And that's really what, you know, I usually use the word money as being the place of the promised land, and that money means milk and honey. We're using a paper currency that means nothing to get things as a medium, because we don't, when we go to things like mediums, what we're doing is creating an idol, because anything that you go outside of your body for is an idol, because everything you need is within. So why would we need money if I could get somebody, if I want to manifest something, my intentions are right, and I'm, you know, there's things that go along with what we manifest and how we manifest it. And why would I use money if I know I can have it if somebody else can get it for me? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to have the money. Like, somebody, if I need a drink one day, or if it's something simple, it happens. I can make it happen. But you know, we get into these things of where we use we use things outside of ourselves to create things that we can already create with our own mind, which is the imagination, right? So they want to cut off that imagination because they know that when melanin gets together, I'm telling you, people are going to find out how powerful melanin is, because once we start to connect, because we are the web, right? We're part of nature's web.
That's
right.
it.
So once we start to connect, just like these phones are made from melanin, they're made from melanated people. They have factories where they make melatonin, which comes from the bait. Like, they're literally taking our magic.
Man.
And when I say them, I'm not saying like some conspiracy theorist thing. It's the people that owns these businesses. You can trace the money to go back to see who owns these things.
The money.
There are a group of people that have a special interest in enslaving us and creating a power grid for them, and they use it because they don't have the ability to make melanin. So if something doesn't have the ability to make melanin, they have to use melanin in order to make things happen. And so they've become perfect. They've become puppeteers at using us and using us against each other in order for their benefit. You
We
know,
are
and I'm tired,
straight
and
up
I'm kind of tired. You know, I'm really tired of it. You know what
and
I'm
we're
saying?
energy conductors and we don't even know. Like we bring everything here. I be trying to
Yeah.
tell people, like, if melanated people, do you know that, like, okay, so let's just say that everything is the way they say it was. If they were going to let slaves go, why wouldn't they just kill them all? Because
Right.
do you think the sun would even come to a, you know how cold it is where we're not?
Yep.
Okay. Do you
Exactly.
know how cold it is where we're not? That's all I can say. Okay. So
Mhm.
you're not going to get rid of your source of energy.
Nope.
You're not going to get rid of your source of manifestation. You're not going to get rid of your magic.
Right. And they can't even be out in the sun. That's why they had to have us out there because they burn. And I'm not trying to be. It's
Oh, you're
just simple. We're like we are two different types of species.
right. Yes.
It's just the way it is because if I often tell people it's as easy as this. If the pineal gland is the source of where melanin is created, because melanin is just a byproduct of the carbon that's within our body, right? Which is or the neuromelanin within the body. It's just a byproduct of the body in that like plants have green for chlorophyll, our melanin is basically like chlorophyll.
Yes.
And so when we start to learn the conductivity of the body and why copper works the way it does, how electromagnetics work and things like that, we start to learn that our body solely runs off of the soul, which is the sun, and that we are able to even produce, because we're supposed to be fruit eaters, right?
Right.
That's what the goal is to get lighter and lighter and lighter until where you don't need it anymore, and you're self-sustaining, which is like what a god is. It just is.
Yeah.
And once we get to the point where we've cleaned our bodies out and become good conductors and aren't blocked off, you start to see that you'll need less and less, and that you actually get stronger and stronger. But you have to get your body to a place where it's repetitively broken down and rebuilt, like the temple. The temple has to be tore down and rebuilt several times.
Yep.
Within the span of 7 years, right? The Sabbath, which is rest, because that's where we're trying to go, is the place of rest.
Every
Right.
7 years, right?
Right. And so
Yep.
the sun is literally the sun. The SON is the SUN. So they know that we receive our information from the sun through the pineal gland. And so if a pineal gland is what creates melanin and gives us our brown skin, if somebody doesn't have melanated skin, that means that they lack the ability to create melanin through the pineal gland because it's heavily calcified, which the what we call the European, or the one that doesn't have melanin, they can't get the same benefits that we can with having melanin, because their skin is unnatural to the sun. The sun sees it as a threat, which is why it burns it. It's or unnatural, not really a threat, but as it being unnatural, because why would the sun attack one type of person but not the other? Right. And I know people say that melanated people sunburn, but the only reason melanated people sunburn is because they're eating like people that they're not.
Oh,
They're eating like the other, like they can eat that stuff. That they're actually acting within their species type in order to do it, because they have to eat something living in order to get the light from that, like a vampire. A vampire can only come out at night, and it can only feed on the blood of another thing because it can't be in the sunlight, right?
Oh my God, you are dropping some gems on me right now.
But it's the
I
truth.
never even thought about that. Yes, yes, absolutely.
So they have to take something from something natural in order to convert it into something for them to survive. Which is why they're messing with the food. They're trying to do all these things with vaccine, and the medicines, because they know it's killing us. It kills the melanin, but they also keep just enough melanin around to do their magic. But they want to get rid of the rest because we're a threat. We're a threat to them.
Man. And that's when you started to see those. And guys, we didn't get too much into it over here, but that's where you start to see the divergence. All this time, it was really about, to me, it was really about finding out who wasn't down. It wasn't about who's down. It was about who's not with this, because we need to figure out who that is. Because those are the teachers. There's so many people I know who lost their jobs, who quit their jobs, who walked off because there was that threat of, do this or not. And it's like, I stand behind the fact that I'm divine, and I'm not there's plenty of other ways to go about this. Why is this being forced upon me? And it's a reason, because it happened during the same time as the awakening, y'all. I mean, to me, it was blowing me, because I started my podcast of almost 2 years ago, and this happened like a year, like a year after I started my podcast. All of a sudden, it's just like, so while everybody is waking up, we got to start dumbing you down. While y'all are trying to learn stuff, you know what I'm saying? We trying to get you to unlearn stuff. While YouTube, that's why everything keeps upgrading, y'all. Y'all think that you keep getting a new phone every month from Apple because Apple just got it like that? No, they like you distracted from your skills, because right now with this, and I talked about it before. The sun. You talked about the sun, but when we talk about divinity, and we talk about the masculine and the feminine, we always look at the sun as the masculine sun, right? The Ra. But there's two suns. There's the Ra and the Ray.
Yeah.
And every 26,000 years we get a new sun. And December of last year was the crossover of the Ra to the Ray sun. So that feminine energy that we felt come in was this new sun. And when people be like, man, the sun ain't playing, this must be a new sun. Y'all saying that, but you don't know that it actually is a new sun out there. That's like the energy switched over. And that's hard for a lot of people to even conceive, because we've been taught just that thing happens, like there's just one sun, and there's just one God, and there's just this. It makes no sense. Because even in their own books, how is there one God when your God said that there are so many other gods and he's going to destroy all the other? So it just don't make sense. So people start using their brains and thinking for yourselves, because if you don't, you're going to continue just to accept what we're being given, because it is time to start dumbing us down. It is not time for us to wake up, and they see it, feel it. That's why so many people you see gravitate towards crystals all of a sudden, and gravitate towards metaphysics all of a sudden. And at the same time, they was coming with that jab. They were coming with that. Hey, what you think you doing? You think you waking up? Hell no, I'll go back to sleep. And it's like the divergent. You gotta just, sometimes we gotta maneuver through, but that time is over. Like of being the one to be scared that your family, because me, I do tarot. But I don't need tarot cards. Divine speaks through me.
Straight to you.
That's an external object, but it makes people it made people uncomfortable. So I like cards because it makes people uncomfortable. And I like art, but it's just a tool that I use, but when I used to make people uncomfortable as a child or as a youngin growing up, because I was into things that other people were not into. And you know what? It made me want to hide it. And then there was this time when I got this download, and it was like, no more hiding. There's no more hiding. Because you have something to do. And just like you have a mission, you had to change your whole life. Your whole life changed in order for you to guide. Because all of that was not even just for you. That's for you to lead everybody else where they're supposed to be going. Like your whole life changed so you can become the leader that you are becoming right now. Like that's amazing, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. Like what you're saying is exactly what I try to tell people, in that, I come from a religious background. My dad's a preacher, my our assistant pastor, my grandfather was a pastor. All of them were pastors, ministers, and whatnot. And so I grew up under this dogma, but I've come to really enjoy the Bible now that I know what it's actually being said, and I can I got an uncanny ability to be able to talk to our people in the same language and point things out in the Bible that make sense to them that a preacher can't do. And I don't regret my upbringing as a Christian, because that gave me the ammunition I needed for when I freed myself to be able to help get my people out of the darkness that they've been thrown into, because they're being taught a book that is it's not a literal book, it's a literary book, in that it's not to be taken literal. The stories are true, but they're only true in a sense of a hidden meaning. And like you were talking about the rebellion, because that's basically what's happened, is we're rebelling. And we talk about Eve, and if you even look up the word Mary means bitter or rebellion. And see, what people don't get is that the church is hiding the woman for a reason, because the woman is the God, the man is the co-creator. The man was there. Man was sent here to protect the God, and they've taught us this patriarchal bullshit. When we live in a matrix, we live in a matriarch. We all start out as women. Whenever we come in here, before 3 weeks of gestation is up, we're all women until gender is decided, and your penis and the testicles for men who have that is basically the woman's inner workings on the outside, because we're the fallen gods that come out of the woman, because we fall from the universe, from the potter's. The potter's hand is the woman, who's the one that puts you together, who's the one that knows all the hairs on your head before you come out, who's the one that knows all your thoughts. It's not some bearded white man up in the clouds that do that. It's truly the woman. And if you look at scriptures, it just says it in a roundabout way, and that you don't reach enlightenment.
Bosom. I ain't no man with no bosom.
Bosom, right?
Right. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so the Christ energy is even a feminine energy. He has long hair for a reason. And people get mad when I say it, because people hold on to these dogmas. But I'm the type of person like you, is I don't mind making people uncomfortable. I don't mind shattering people's realities, and I will be the devil to the people, because honestly, God and the devil are the same character. Absolutely. It's just you know what I'm saying? It's the same character. So the God wants, the God that they portray wants you in bondage, but the devil is the one that's wanting to set you free, because they literally are the ones that call us. It's the beast. We are the beast to them. And so they want us to worship this God that they've created. And they know that we're the devil. And as soon as we find out that, women are the ones who are going to free the world, because the only way that you can experience love is through a woman, because when a baby's born, the hormone that is responsible for the feeling of love is called oxytocin, which is only developed within the woman's. It's both developed in a man and woman, but the woman is the only person who can share it with another being through the breast milk. And that's why they're really going after breast milk, because breast milk will kill all ails, even for a grown man. These things have hormones, they have nutrients, they have all these different things that help heal the body even before we come in as a child. And so really what all man and woman is looking for is to go back to the womb, but especially man. And that's where sex comes in. You go inside of a woman. I'm not trying to get graphic, but a man needs to be nurtured, no matter how much he wants to act hard, no matter how much he wants to act like he's this and that. The world will fall apart without women, and the production of gods, which is what we are, melanated gods. The production will go down if they get rid of women. If women disappear, it's gone. But what most people don't know is that women actually have the ability to procreate without man.
All by themselves.
All by themselves.
You know what? Woo, you're doing too much tonight. You got see, okay, so I had a show. It's called The Mother. I played it. Happened. My mom passed away last year, so I was supposed to have that show last year, and it was just too hard. So I had it this year, and I went into exactly what you're describing right now. And all energy started feminine. All energy started as a feminine energy. The feminine created the masculine. And it's so simple. If we would just look at life, period. I've never seen anything come created out of the masculine energy. It all comes from the feminine energy first.
Except for a seahorse.
Seahorse, who is, isn't it like doesn't it have both?
Just carries I think he just carries the baby, basically. They still have to do the thing, but it's just, but you're absolutely right.
It's so simplified, but it seems like, just to unbrainwash ourselves, it's just like it freaks people out, and they will unfollow you. They will not talk to you because you awaken something in them that they don't want to deal with, because that means there's so many other lies that we've been told. And then all the women I disrespected. Oh my God. What about all the times I was like, I'm the man, and now I'm like, oh shit, she created me. And that's okay. I believe that energy knows that it's been put asleep. It's known it's dormant. So there's no like animosity, but you got to understand that the feminine energy, it's both masculine and feminine, because people think feminine means you're going to be soft. You're going to be all the time, but Mother Nature will destroy some shit.
Destroy.
What? Come
Women
through
can
and
destroy. Woman can destroy everything. I
everything.
mean, and Bobby Hemmett, I watch him a lot, and he
Oh,
calls
I love him.
melanated women are chaos beings. The
Yes.
reason that man was even created is because the woman needs stability in her emotions, or she was going to wreck it. Like, she has the power to wreck everything. And when you know that our emotions are what control our power, right? You
Absolutely.
watched all the movies, the superhero movies, right? Like,
Yes.
whenever you watch them, they always have to get focus, and they have to get their emotions under, because if they don't, then they will destroy things. And so
Yep.
I believe that woman manifested man because she needed that left part of the brain, which is with the masculine part of the brain, which brings logic, because
Yes.
the emotions can run high and sometimes they need logic. That's the angel and the devil. They're not there. One's not bad and one's not good. It's just that one balances out the other. There's
Absolutely.
one that's for survival, which is the man, which is the left side of the brain, and then there's the divine, which is the 90% that they say that people don't use. So the woman is the destroyer of the Kundalini that shatters all paradigms, and in that Adam, Eve gets, demonized for eating the apple, but the whole picture of Eve eating the apple was what we're doing now, is becoming as gods, and they wrote it in such a way to where they shame us for
Yes.
becoming as God. But when the very word for God in Hebrew, at its root word, is Hawa, which is the same exact spelling, and at the root part of the etymology of the Hebrew word Hava, which means Eve, right? So Hawa is what the root word for God is, and Hava is what the word for Eve is. And so
Mm.
both of those mean to be, or to become, or to give breath. And that's what God does. It
Yes.
just is. And it just, and the woman, being the God, is the one who has the portal, or the which is really the eye of Horus. A lot
Yes.
of people don't know that in occult knowledge, that Ra was, or the sun, was actually referred to as a feminine energy, even with the sun behind it, because it's really the daughter and it's really the mother and the grandmother, and then
Yes.
the son, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so without the portal, what they're trying to do is get the woman away from the man, because they have to get away from the protector. But then
Absolutely.
the state now protects the woman.
Right.
And as the woman comes in and gives childbirth, in law, the woman is actually called the child's first informant, because by giving the child a birth certificate, she relinquishes her rights to the child and
Yep.
gives it to the state. So they've thought deeply on this, but they know that when women start to find out who they are, and how, like, I'm in a relationship now, but it's scary as hell, because a woman really can wreck you if she wants to. She really can. Like, men need women more than woman needs men. I'm not saying that women don't need men. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, for this creation thing to happen in the way that the woman actually manifested to be, the man actually needs the woman, and he really is serving her. But in servitude to her, she submits to him.
That's it right
But
there.
you know what I'm saying? There's no one above the other.
Mm.
It's just that you have to know your role in this cycle and how things work, and
Yes.
that we've been turned around on the way that we think, and that we are abusing our women and making them emotionally, how do I say it? Emotionally hurt, because they now view their own, like, melanated men as the enemy, to where
Their
they're
own
going and
protector
being
that they created, the one
right.
that's supposed to protect them. Yes, and this is why I do Soulmate Sundays, to bring the masculine, the divine feminine back together, because I
Right.
believe that we were pit against each other. We always being pit
Hmm.
against each other. Anytime something comes out in the news, it's always the masculine versus the feminine. It's like, oh, Jada May, Will slapped him. Y'all,
Right.
Kevin Samuels, he was right, he was wrong, he was right, he was wrong. I don't give a shit about any of that. I care about the fact that if we don't put things in place, we're gonna
Hmm.
always be looking backwards. The head has to turn around, and you have to realize that the beginning was feminine. In the
Hmm.
beginning, the mother passed down it, like this whole patriarchic system of, you become a king and then you pass the crown down to the prince. You're passing down a physical crown, right?
Hmm.
Where the mother
Right.
used to pass down the mitochondrial DNA to the the daughter. So
Yep.
that was the actual crowning of the next, the next queen or king. It was a female king, maybe, but this was before the patriarch, and that is where they mimic it in the physical form. But you cannot do it in the spiritual form. Only a woman
Can't
can
do it.
and it's
Right.
okay. And you know what? The problem is, it's like getting people to be okay with that. Why were we okay for so long with a white, red, long beard God, and we were okay with that? But if somebody was to like change your mind or just give you a different way to think, it's like, hell no, please don't give me a different way of thinking of this. I'm good with my white bearded man, please.
Right.
And but doesn't make sense to you? Does it even make sense to you? Do you
Right.
even question things? So
Yeah, it's a trip. Like I was saying, we haven't got it as deep as we can, because if we even bring out the Bible and I start bringing things into question, I can guarantee you I can make any Christian or any pastor think about what they're teaching, because they're not teaching it right. I'm telling you, I don't do it, but I could get up and question every preacher there is and ask them, why is this? And they won't be able to answer it, but I will, because I went and looked for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not being told. But like you said, it's ridiculous that people don't see that woman is who she is because of her ability to give birth. That is the ultimate power that any being can have. That's the power they want. They want to control what comes into this realm. And the only way you could control what comes into this realm is through the woman.
Yes.
You know, everything's based on maritime law, the law of the seas, and things like this, because we come from the seas of the mother. We come from the womb.
Yes.
And even the wedding rituals and things like that, the way that churches and courts are set up, and the ankh is all about the uterus.
What?
You know,
I'm over
right?
here holding my ankh right now.
Exactly.
I'm over here like, yes.
So if you hold it up again, right? The church is like that, like the bottom part of the ankh, right? Where the birthing canal is. On each side of that was where your pews are. And then you get up to the altar where the cross is, and then you get up there where I'm trying to talk too fast and I'm forgetting what I need to say, but the two, is it the fallopian tubes on both sides, where and then you have the place where the baby is, where the head is, which is also called a papoose, right? That the Indians carried their babies in. Everything goes around it, but it's also a piece that the priest or the astrologers used to track the sun. So all of it literally comes from the ankh. And even the bride coming to meet the groom, they've even got that backwards, because the egg don't come and meet the sperm, right? The sperm comes, so they've got it so backwards that the man is the one that should be walking down to the altar to meet the woman, and nobody questions why the man gets on one knee and gives the woman a ring to be able to take her hand in marriage, because he's literally asking God to marry them. Whenever a man finds a woman, which is supposed to be, he finds God, and that's really supposed to take place in both people before they meet each other, and they have attracted each other. And the whole ritual of the wedding is that of the enlightenment within. It's a recognition or a ritual of both people have come to their senses and they've attracted each other, because I believe that we're two playing as one down here, that we both, that when one soul comes down here, it's split, and one is the masculine and one is the feminine, and we're not always guaranteed to meet that person, but before we can ascend back up, to me, my empress that I'm talking to now is called the ultimate yoga, is when you find that to me, the definition of love, not only oxytocin, is the soul's recognition of its counterpart in another, right? And so you literally meet yourself, and then yourself together, between man and woman, they become God together, which they create other gods. But in order to ascend, a man can't do it by himself, and a woman can't do it by herself, because of the way things have been designed now. And so in order to get out of here, you really have to then begin your relationship and try to attract the one that's for you, and not these ones that they got us, going to the clubs and being married to people. Because people out here married to people they don't even know, because they don't even know themselves, and they're producing babies, which are, each time a baby is produced, it's devolved, because we've gotten out of the business of making gods, and now they've created a system where we're just making cattle. We're just numbly creating children in a wrong frame of mind with a jacked up body, and not even knowing who we are. So it's really just all boils down to that they've defamed us, and it's basically defamation of character. They've stolen our identity, they've taken our identity as their own and given us their identity, which was they were the servants. That they were the ones that had to be civilized because they are not of this world. Because the sun will prove that. Anytime you put anything under the sun and it destroys it, it's unnatural.
Well, that's just facts. I mean, that ain't nothing. It is what it is.
It is. And I've explained this to people that are like, that are unmelanated. And they're actually interested and they don't get triggered or anything, because there's been times that I was outside talking to one guy and I was talking to him and he was just so amazed about the things that I was saying. And I had I was in Sedona. I love the sun. I go to the hottest places I can, and I stay on my cycle. As soon as I leave the East Coast, I'm going back. I'm a sun chaser because that's what we're supposed to be doing. That's the cycle. Yes. Our ancestors did it. We should be doing it. We shouldn't be settling. But I was talking to him outside and was, dropping some things on him that was making sense and questioning his whole existence, and he was like, I want to stay out here. And I know that you're not racist and you're actually saying what's true, because I'm not racist. I love all people. Right. You know what I mean? But I know for what things are for what they are. And he started burning. The sun was burning. Is burning him up, And he's like, I want to sit here and talk to you, but I physically can't. And I was like, he's like, so I can sit here and tell you there's something different between us, because you can continue to stay out here, whereas I have to go into the shade. And I didn't even have to do anything. The sun did it. Yeah. And I'm right. And he's like, I'm not even mad at you, because literally there's a science project happening right in front of me that I cannot deny. And I can't even ask you. I can't even belittle you to ask you if we can continue this conversation in the shade, because that's not where I belong. So nope. When it says that Christ comes to separate, right? The Christ is the sun, not only the sun within us, but outwards, but he's our salvation, because the sun gets hotter and hotter as it begins to regenerate. And as it gets hotter and hotter, it burns away all the things that are unnatural. So they're scared of the sun. They hate the sun. The so-called Jews hate Jesus because they understand that Jesus represents the sun, the sun, and that it's terrifying to them because it will literally burn them alive. It already does. It is not even at its hottest.
Yeah, exactly. Not yet, but it's getting there. That's why you see people up here trying to get planes and going to Mars and shit, different places. Right. And
trying to cover the sun with all these chemtrails and shit. Yeah. So because they know what time it is.
Absolutely. So Peri, I know that we supposed to be talking about your raw barbecue courts, but I want to say this. You got so much knowledge. It's not just about, it's so much knowledge. And I believe that your calling is to, help lead us on that nutrition, to open up our eyes, because I saw your story. I saw where at first I was like, who is that? That's you.
Right.
I mean, you'll still kill you. That's you. Like, and you say you're almost 40. I don't even see it. And but that we have to change our physical. And I believe that, each of the Starseeds that have come here have their calling. Like mine is spark. I try to tell people, I'm not teaching you nothing. All I'm trying to do is get you to remember what you already know. I can't teach you anything. I can't. All I'm doing is remembering shit. Every day I'm learning something new. Even if I sit here with you, you're just bang, 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 bang. Now I'm gonna be up all night because you didn't just activate all this shit inside of me that's gonna have me over here just writing like, yep, you know what? And I'm gonna wake up in the morning, I'm gonna go sun gaze. But because I like to stargaze just because, like, the sun, I gotta catch it early enough that I can, tolerate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's so true that we really need to get into ourselves, back into our real bodies, and knowing that we're not going to be able to survive it either as melanated people if we're not in alignment, mind, and soul. Because that sun, it ain't playing. It's like when they say it's like coming back for its people. Well, you got to be in alignment with it. You got to, how am I your people, but I don't look like you, I don't talk like you, I'm not you. Right. I can't recognize you as my people. You eating shit that I didn't ask you. That's not the. Who are you? And like, I'm at the pick and choose. Oh, okay. You good. And so we need to really start. And I'm gonna get you his info. What books have you read? Find this info. Okay, so Mo Dunny, He wants to know what books have you read to find this information.
A lot of it is some of my favorite books are the Kabbalion, the Law of Correspondence has a lot of it in there. Honestly, I do a lot of watching videos like Bobby Hemmett, Brother C. Freeman L. A lot of the elders, because the elders have a lot of the knowledge, right? But like I said, as you clean out, it's not that I own a lot of books, but I haven't read them. A lot of things that I have as books are just, when I do decide to read them, it's confirmation that the things that I was already thinking without the book was for real. So I'm not trying to not answer the question, but the answer is that I love books. I have many books, but a lot of the information I got came just from sitting around one day and being in thought, and it just hits you, or something comes up when you learn signs and symbols and what they mean.
Yes.
You know, Mama will send something and you'll be like, oh shit, like, why didn't I put that together? Like, what the, so, but honestly, etymology would be a etymology dictionary. Definitely get you one of those. Kabbalion is very, very important. I think those are the Kabbalion is a good way to start, because it teaches you the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, how we are all mind, and how things operate. Another book is a metaphysical Bible, which tells you the metaphysical meanings of what the Bible is actually talking about. So you can kind of put the picture together of what's being said, because folklore and myth they're true stories told in fiction, right? So if I'm trying to tell somebody about the body, or a child, say I'm dealing with a child, if I'm trying to take something complicated and make it plain, I put it in story form and I give it character names. Like the pineal would be Jesus, or the pituitary would be Mary, and the 12 disciples would be, the 12 zodiac signs, or the 12 faculties within the brain. I'm having a brain fart right now, but there's 12 cranial nerves in your head that operate within those functions of the pineal gland and the pituitary gland to create emotions, feelings, thoughts. And so in order to make those things plain, I honestly think the same Bible that enslaved people can be the same one that frees them. But those Bibles and those manuscripts were taken from our people as being Egyptians, or Atlanteans, or whatever it is, Sumerians. Those were us. We're Semitic people. We're the ones that they're talking about, that are the Jews, and this, that, and the other. And so I've been knowing this a lot because I went through the Christianity. I went through Torah, where I was a Hebrew Israelite, where I ate clean and all that. And then I broke out of that and finally went to the Essenes. The Essene Gospel of Peace are really good books. They actually show and break down a lot of why we do things ritualistically, and kind of pair it together with the knowledge of the universe and things like that. So the Essenes were really the ones that kind of broke me out of the dogmatic type thinking. But really, that's all I can say is really the etymology book, the Essene Gospels of Peace, and the metaphysical Bible and things like that. So words and word breakdowns are important before you read anything, is understanding the words.
1, 2, 3 on the clock. That's a
1,
line.
2, 3, right?
Yep, 1, 2, 3. I will say that my number one first teacher was Dr. Dilbert Blair. I started watching Dr. Blair back in 2010 was when I started my awakening process, and Dr. Dilbert Blair was still around. They had killed his wife, and later on he passed away. But he was the number one teacher for me. One of the books that opened my eyes is the Ancient Secrets to the Flower of Life.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and I can't say the last name Melich, but I'll put up the information on my I'll take a picture of it and put it on IG so you can see it. That was one of the books that opened me up. But like you said, everything is a confirmation of what I already knew. It's almost like I'm open now to understanding that divine speaks directly to me since I was a little kid. It happened the first time when I was about 8 years old that I heard it clearly, and it's been like that ever since. That's why I don't write down stuff when I'm sitting here. It's either I'm going to channel or nothing's going to come through, and it's never nothing. It's always like, oh, she's here, she's there, and the Starseeds are there. Let's talk. So, everything you're saying is so on point. And yes, I have a bookshelf. It's crazy, and I haven't read half of the books, but when I do open them, it's confirmation of already the things I already know. So it's like I'm drawn to these books. These books are coming to me because I go places and I get them out of thrift stores, and it's always I find metaphysical books everywhere. But that's because that's the energy I'm putting out. Like you see my Basset here. She's always around me because I already know that was a time that I was in that time during that time. I know you're only drawn to what you already know. You talk about thoughts. Here he is, right here.
It's funny. It's funny as I actually identify with the energies of Jupiter. I'm a Pisces as well.
Oh, I'm a Pisces.
So and so it's funny because today's Thursday, which is Jupiter Day, and Jupiter always shows itself. What happened?
Oh no, I just had a bad user. That's okay.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's just when you start seeing the signs and symbols of everything, it's really cool, and the certain energies that we identify with and how they show up in our lives every day to point us in the right direction. It's nature uses the language that only the ones who can't hear can see, because it's not a verbal language, but it's through signs and symbols and what she shows you in nature, and what's it's a beautiful language because it literally is just signs and symbols, especially when you start learning yourself.
Yeah, because before we could speak, we could see things, right? Like the first God you ever saw was your mother, the first breast that ever fed you, the person that nurtured you. So that was your God before someone told you what God was, the concept of what God was.
That's right.
I can go on with you all night, Peri. I know. Look at my Starseed. Hey, Claudia, she finally made it. Now, Claudia is our human design expert.
Ooh, I love human design.
Oh, yeah, she is our. Okay, so y'all, this is a little announcement. I'm gonna say it while you're here. So Claudia has accepted my offer, and she is now our resident Pronoia Starseed human design expert. She'll be on our show once every month, and I'll be bringing my guests back. So, I'm going to ask you to come back, Peri. First of all, you're a Pisces. Hey,
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and so. And then I'm like, you got this love energy because you're a Pisces. So you come like Soulmate Sunday. You got so much to talk about. And again, the food is number one. I feel like again, that's your calling, is to just wake us up on the inside.
That's right.
Then but that Pisces energy is real strong in you. That Pisces energy, when you said that, I was like, oh, that makes sense. No wonder you're so connected. You're so connected. Because you live in the ether. You on the
That's right. And what's crazy is I'm Pisces Virgo, so I directly oppose myself in that I like my outer world. I like the being up in space, but Virgo brings me back down sometimes when I get a little too detached, because as Pisces, our inner worlds are a lot more interesting than being in this whatever we call it.
Oh, now the Pisces, and you understand, because man, I will Neptune. I will be in dream world. I will get. Look, don't bother me for a couple days, because this world is too much for us. We don't even belong here. We're just here. We like the water. We don't even belong here. We just here to help everybody get where they need to go. Woo. So Claudia, our human design expert, I'm going to let her tap in here real quick. She wants to know what your human design is, Peri.
I am a generator, but I'm a 1-4 investigative opportunist, which describes me perfectly to the T.
When I saw that 1-4, I said, damn, because you like investigator. First of all, you're creating all these new things, right? And then you created a course, a way to actually, manifest from the investigation. So it was just like, when I saw that, I said, oh my God, that is so dope. Yep. So yeah, I'm definitely going to bring you back when Claudia is here so we can get into your.
Yes, let's do it. I'm excited about that stuff. I love food. Don't get me wrong, but that stuff really lights me up.
So I'm definitely gonna, tap in with you about coming back, y'all. He's gonna be back. Okay, so don't worry, he'll be back. But before we go, okay, so you just let me know if you're down for it. I do it with all my guests. I pull a card. So pull for the Starseed deck today.
Cool.
And see what Divine has for you.
Sounds good.
All right.
Which is funny because I never let anybody pull for me.
No?
So you're good. Nah, but I'm good because you're my sister. You
All
don't
right,
resist
that's it.
anybody, so you're
That's
good. I
it, man.
trust you.
Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah.
And Claudia
Let's
says, I
see.
know several 4-1s, but 1-4s have a little different vibe. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah, I can't wait for her to get into your human design. And when she,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm gonna just sit in the background and just listen. Like I know it's hard times, but I'm gonna sit back and just listen because I'm gonna be like, mm.
I
Let her do
love it.
her thing. Yes. So tonight we're gonna ask Spirit, what do you have for Peri? Divine ancestors and guides, can you please give me one message? One message for Peri tonight. Spirit, please give me a message for Peri tonight. Message for Peri tonight. One message for Peri tonight, please, Spirit. One message. One message, okay. One message for Peri tonight, please, Spirit. One message for Peri tonight, please, Spirit. One message. One message for Peri tonight, please, Spirit. One message. Okay. Oh, okay. 2 messages for you tonight.
Oh, two.
Mm-hmm. So the first message you got is trust the timing. Trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out.
Ooh, I definitely needed to hear that.
Mhm. And we'll go to the book and see what Divine has to say. Trust the timing. All right. And that is the number 6. I don't know if that means anything to you. It's the
I
number
do
6.
like the number 6.
All right, let's see here. Trust the timing. So often those who feel like they're here for a reason since the time is running out, and they spend their life worrying that they might miss their moment. But the only way to miss your life or your moment is to spend your time worrying about missing it. It's never too late. Answering a calling, and you're never too old. The tides of your life are magnificently. Let me start over. The tides of your life are magnificently orchestrated to come in and out in a perfect unison. Don't race ahead and ride a wave that's never meant for you. You'll waste your precious time and energy when instead you could be enjoying your life. Everything has a season.
Mm.
You're being called to trust the one you're in. Don't let impatience, comparison, competition, or paranoia disturb the seeds. It seems that everyone is anxious these days, constantly scanning for for something they might have missed or a possible threat. Keeping our mind and body pointed in the same direction as our soul is near impossible at such a reactive speeds. Right now, you're being reminded to take a breath and trust the wave you came in on, to trust the season you're in. Time isn't running out. There's plenty of time. There's no rush, and it's never too late. How can you trust the timing of your life a little more?
Mm, that's timely. That's for sure.
And your second message is the cosmic heart. Devotion, potency, make your life a moving prayer.
Mm, nice. I like that. I like the artwork on this too.
Yeah, these are some really dope cards. So these are
Hmm.
for my star seeds. All
Cool.
right, let's see. What was that again? Oh, the cosmic heart. All right. So mhm. The cosmic heart is the number 12. Okay. When you surrender to a state of devotion, you find yourself flowing with life. You're being called to refocus your attention deep within, to the intelligence of your own heart, to bow with the deep reverence to your inner temple, to live your life in devotion to this place, to make your life one big moving prayer. Perhaps you felt a little bit of a kilter lately, sensing that the potency of why you're doing things has gotten a little watered down or weak. Perhaps you've forgotten what made you start doing them in the first place. If so, this is your call to take a moment and reconnect with the truth at the very center of your heart, to get back to the essence of what you're about, to devote your life to what you care most about, to turn your gaze deep, 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 deep. There's a season for harvesting and a season for sowing. Right now, you're being called to plant your soul seeds and sing to them with deep devotion, to feed them with the sweet waters of your own soul, and to lose yourself in the potency of what is most important, what most expands your heart, to live your life according to what makes you come alive rather than what everyone else thinks, to make your life one big moving prayer. How can you
Beautiful.
make your life a moving prayer?
I
Yes.
love that.
Yes, I think that is beautiful. It's two beautiful messages.
It
Trust in
is.
something and make your life a moving prayer. I think your life is a moving prayer. Like I said, you were sent here for a reason, and the fact that you stepped out, regardless to feeling like we shunned when we can't go to the barbecues and eat the barbecue. It's okay. Now we eating RawBQ. Okay, we
That's
don't need
right. That's
no damn
right.
barbecue. Okay? I'm gonna give me some seaweed things. I seen them at the store, and then I'm gonna get this course, and I'm gonna be wrapping me up some stuff, and y'all gonna see me looking fine and fly. Okay, and
Yeah.
y'all can keep y'all little barbecue. Okay.
It's like geniuses in the making. They don't even
Yeah.
know. They're eating all well. They're just becoming geniuses. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But
Yes. So that is
yeah,
what God has for you, Fairy.
appreciate it. And if there's
Yes.
one more other thing I want to say is that
Sure.
the reason I even did the course and why I'm even doing these things is because I care about our people so much. You know, I grew up in a place where it was not a lot of melanated people. And now that I'm being able to connect with more people that look like me and we have things in common in that we're finding out who we are at the same time is beautiful. And I
Yes.
want all the melanated beings out there, all the carbonated beings to know that the only reason I'm doing it, it's not about the money. It's not about any of that. It's because I love all of
Yes.
you. We're all one under the sun.
I love you.
There's no separation with melanin. They try to separate us through whether one's light skin, one's dark, whether one's Mexican. The sun knows melanin. And
Yes.
that's all it knows. And I just want everybody that's under the sound of my voice to know that I love every single one of you, and I know that this time around, whatever's happening now, that we're going to come back together as a people, and that we're going to go back to the way that we're supposed to be living, and that is an empathetic, very rich life, and I can't wait to see us all come back together without getting too
Absolutely.
emotional, but I really do.
Oh, I'm over
I
here feeling emotional.
love
Get that little tight, gotta swallow. No, I
yeah.
because you know what? That's beautiful. I can feel your heart. I can feel that that's genuine. I can feel that. That's why I knew it was okay for me to read for you because you're my brother. I could feel it. I could feel
That's
it when
right.
I was led to you. I was like, let me see if I saw you on my girl, Tony Hickman. Shout out to Tony Hickman from the
Tony.
yeah. So shout out to her. I saw you there and I was like, oh my gosh, that's what we need. Like, because I bring the music here. I bring marijuana connoisseurs. I bring people, to talk about everything health. We bring in Dr. Inky. We're talking about everything. And we need to see the Starseeds that touch every single base because there's one for everything. There's not ever just one platform. There's so many platforms. My girlfriend has introduced a podcast where she introduces you to new people and new things.
Wow.
And yeah, I think it's really dope that
Yeah.
we all are being activated at this time, and what it's doing is just activating the rest of us. So again, if there was only one person watching tonight, that one person went back and was like, yo, I'm changing my diet. And then they teach their mother or their sister, man, you know how many people we just activated by that one person watching tonight?
That's right. That's right. It's exciting.
Yes,
I love it. I love it.
and it's not about the money, you guys.
No.
I don't have anything I'm offering money for. I put my cash app every now and then, but that's just for me to buy these little gifts that I send out to the Starseeds. Because again, at the end of the day, it's really a gift for me to be able to stand in my calling and give you something. And
That's
again,
right.
if you do charge for your services, think about the stuff we pay for. It's dumb. Think about the enlightenment you receive, and is it worth it? And absolutely changing your life and being able to eat healthier, to see yourself clearly, and to know yourself. There's no price you can put on that.
Nope.
Nope.
The one reason I started to charge, because I had that same idea. I shared a lot of information. Like, people go to my Instagram and go through my highlights. There's a lot of free information. I was giving a lot of stuff for free. And I started to find out that, there were people that took advantage of it, but a lot of people don't find value in things that are free. We've been conditioned to be consumers. And so I know that people that will pay to me, which is a little amount of money to take care of themselves, will take it serious because they find value, with the things they have to pay for. It's almost playing the construct's game against itself. And that, what I'm doing and what the money's going towards is going back into our community by allowing me to go and be and talk and travel to the Starseeds everywhere, our brothers and sisters everywhere, you know. So it was really hard for me to do that at first because I was totally against doing that. But once Mama, I call her Mama. You know, she was like, provide something and allow them to be able to pay for something, but don't gouge. You know, I'm not, what I'm offering is of value, but I just always want people to know that everything I do comes with the best of intentions, and it is all for the remembering and the self-empowerment of our people. You know what I mean? Because nobody's going to look out for us but us.
And I think us Starseeds, we all start off like not wanting to, oh no, I don't want to charge for my craft. But the thing about it is, like you said, a lot of people don't even see value when you give them something for free. And so then the minute you start charging for it, it's like it becomes valuable. It's just how we are programmed. But also, it's your energy. It's not just about the fact that you give up your time and you come here, but it's like you give up your energy. When I leave the show again, I'll be hyped up, but then the next day I'll be having to sleep like the whole day because I'm sitting here. I'm really most of the time I'm channeling. And people don't know that's exhausting. On Tarot Tuesdays, I pull tarot cards, and sometimes I'm pulling 18 people, and I'd be exhausted by the end of the night. They'd be like, "You coming on Thursday?" Hell no, I'll see y'all on Thursday.
So give me 2 days of rest.
And I'm a projector. I'm a projector. So I don't have that energy source just running through me. I gotta pull from other people. Like tonight, I'm pulling from your energy. I'm definitely feeling all that energy. You making me really have to go raw because I ain't even got this kind of energy. So
just get right. Yeah, I was gonna say I got plenty of energy. People, for sure.
But I'm definitely gonna invite you back. We gotta definitely get into you. I mean, again, you touched so many bases early on. I just knew I was like, okay, so I'm gonna have to bring him back a couple times. Cool beans, you're gonna be a Starseed for real. But
that's right. I'm looking forward to it.
I love it. I thank you so much for coming. And you know what? You just listening to you. I had a lineup of music and I was like, you know what I'm gonna play? So I already know what I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play a couple of songs. I'm inspired by what we talked about tonight. So the first one, y'all, I'm gonna drop tonight is gonna be God Complex by The Cure. The second one tonight we're gonna drop is The Black Woman Is God. So I hope y'all stick around and watch it. It's by Saba the Goddess. It's called Black Woman Is God. I promise you, it touched on everything we was talking about and some more. Actually, I think I'm gonna play it in the other way because The Cure's is a little shorter. The Black Woman's of God, it's a little set, but I'm telling you, just stick around. This is some good music. Relax, enjoy. Anything else you want to say before we close out tonight, Peri?
Nah, I just appreciate you for having me on, Roxy, and I can't wait to get back on. And for everybody out there, just keep searching thyself. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. I know we hear that a lot, but things are changing. I think everybody sees it, and I can't wait for us to get together and start working our magic. You know what I'm saying? Like doing what we came here to do.
Yes. Great interview. I really enjoyed you being here. Now, this is Pronoia Starseed Podcast. Pronoia means that the universe is working in your favor, not paranoia where everything is working against you, but pronoia. And you all are Starseeds, as we know. Only Starseeds are welcome here. You wouldn't even feel comfortable here if you were a Starseed. Y'all have a good night. This is The Black Woman Is God by Saba the Goddess here on Pronoia Starseed Podcast. Have a great Thankful Thursdays. Thank you, Peri. Peace, y'all.
Absolutely.
My bad. Let's get this on. You can scrap that one. All right, let's get
I am Saba the Goddess. Saba, the Ethiopian Empress. Certified bad mother. And that's Lottie on electric guitar. And King Ketu on the drums. And Black Mambo on the bass.
Get up off your knee, shit. Loaded clip, hollow tip, aside in your defense. And my likeness beat. The moon and the stars, the ocean, the rhythm, the drum, the beat and the bars. Sometimes it hurts. I feel like I'm proving my worth. Despite infinite years of breastfeeding the earth. And I would take them to church, but the scripture is rigged. Cause my anatomy divine, I ain't constructed from its rib. Fabrications to fibs, fuck them, I'm daughter of the sun. Ain't a street bitch, but my mouth a close kin to one. Birth the universe, I guess you could say I earned my stripes. Straight to 10 men, so don't expect me to be lady like nigga. I'm never sparing the rod. Don't you know the black woman is God? Ha, I'm hitting hard on them, never sparing the rod. Don't you know the black woman is God? I know they emulate me, but I'm calling them fraud. Don't you know the black woman is God? No mercy on them now, never sparing the rod. Don't you know the black woman is God? They screaming, blasphemy, but who gon' blasphemy? So much blood on the leaves, I'm drenched in a tragedy, it's hunting season. They want the masses in caskets, and you trying to hide your skin, but still you can't mask it. And your hands up don't work, it's genocide and they shoot first. Coward or killer, weigh your options, tell me what's worse than your bride in the noose. Pain fluid profuse, and yo, fuck a truce. I'ma act the ass right till I'm loose. Vision impeded by black body, oh semen. Enough of a reason to bust heads deep on these demons. Eye for an eye, cry for a cry. But what would you die? I'm choosing the side of my ancestral ties. Keep the peace, bitch, I got a 9. Don't you know the black woman is God? I'm hitting hard on them, never sparing the rod. Don't you know the black woman is God? I know they emulate me, but I'm calling them fraud. Don't you know the black woman is God? No mercy on them now, never sparing the rod. Don't you know the black woman is God? You can find me climbing inside the volume of a revolution. You will hear my knees crawling outside the answer to my mama's prayer. Freedom between two ears yelling, fuck it. But don't call it rebellion, call it necessary. When I use my skirt as holster, a black woman built as an altar, a savior. Breast and shoulders done soothe the heads of broken men. I see blood at my fingertips. Pluck thorns from crowns, been saving and mourning begotten sons since time grew a body and called itself human. Worship should be inside every corner of my name, God, because I am creator. God, because salvation, it passes through my hips, God. Because who you think you fucking with?
They wanna tell us that they made us, stripped away our culture and enslaved us. We survived through the worst time, and they did their best to break us. We played a game, but the game rigged. Now we woke and got our own shit. Everything was all good when we was worthless. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. I got a God complex. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. It was all good when we was worthless. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. A born deity, swag of a king, extension of the Most High, getting this bag for the team. Hover above all, they want me to have humility. Them same folks out here trying to suppress my ability. Spit divine words that manifest in the physical. So when I say I am money, homie, it be spiritual. Get it in this lifetime and shine in the next one. Never let nobody make you feel guilty about your blessing. Yes, I got a God complex. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. It was all good when we was worthless. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. I got a God complex. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. It was all good when we was worthless. Now they mad cause I got a God complex.
See, I am the eternal son walking the earth. Not a man, but I am that God that gave him birth. See, my womb is the gateway. I bleed every month for Ashe. I'll be damned if you tell me what I am worth. Supreme being is mother, oracle and seers. Time to go to the Egon and ask the spirit to lead us. Medicine woman, our world is really sick and need healing. So now we welcome the divine in our spirit. Ashe.
I got a God complex. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. It was all good when we was worthless. Now they mad cause I got a God complex.
Melanated, they make it so complicated, and now we separated cause they tell us we're minorities. But we the Haitians, Jamaicans, even some Latins and Asians, some Cubans and Mexicans, we are majority.
Yeah, they call us witches cause magic is what we conjuring. Took and turned our words into spells and now we under it. Some won't acknowledge our power till the apocalypse. Unleash it on the world and send them packing on rocket ships.
Yeah, heart of a lion, land of the dead and dying. My bag is about that garden, my swag about ancient knowledge and tapping into them. Message from a pendulum, ancestors saying that it's time for the world to see it.
See, they wanna be it. We got the sands of time. Our DNA filled with to medicate the mind. We demonstrate divine powers that can open portals. They fear us cause ye are gods amongst mere mortals. They wanna tell us that they made us, stripped away our culture and enslaved us. We survived through the worst time, and they did their best to break us. We played a game, but the game rigged. Now we woke and got our own shit. Everything was all good when we was worthless. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. I got a God complex. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. It was all good when we was worthless. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. I got a God complex. Now they mad cause I got a God complex. It was all good when we was worthless. Now they mad cause I got a God complex.
You are listening to Chakra Music.
I'm the sun, you the moon, and the light reflect.
I'm trapped in the language that I think in. Yoruba should probably be what I'm speaking.
I am intentional. I am the sun. I am original. I am the one.